So we're doing 2 block walks because it is so stinking important and we need you there at the block walks. So let's ask Armin a couple questions because, again, there are some rumors flying around about who you are. The first one being, and I've heard this comes from Gio himself, that you are a Muslim. So why don't you tell us about that?
Sure. I'm a Catholic. I've been a lifelong Catholic. My father's Iranian, but my mom is Cuban. And I know the Cuban that's sitting here in the front row. And listen, my father...
I'm an American who was born.
That's right. And about my story is my father, when he was 17, he left Iran, a country that was oppressing its people for the exact same reasons that I'm running. Oppressing its people from the ability to vote for whoever you want to vote for, oppressing its people from the ability to practice whatever faith you want to practice. And so at the age of 17, my father left Iran, came to Kansas, where I met my mom. And he's been a Catholic ever since he could be a Catholic. And so have I. In fact, my daughter was baptized this past week on a Saturday. And ironically enough, Giovanni, my opponent, actually attends the same church. So the fact that he spreads those rumors and we go to the same mass, it's kind of ironic. But that's
Let's address another rumor that you are a closet Democrat.
Yeah. So I've been a conservative Republican ever since college. I've been very upfront. Listen, when I was in college, a teenager, I interned for members of both sides of the aisle. I interned for a Republican. I interned for a Democrat. And life experiences ultimately make you who you are. I really believe that. And so, listen, I see what policies work, what policies don't. And the minute that I interned for the Democratic senator, that's when I realized, listen, I'm a Republican. And I knew that the first day that I finished the internship with her was the 4-week internship. And so listen, my experiences as a husband, as a father, as a city council person, I've served as a Republican precinct chair the minute that I was able to do so when I came to Texas. My first vote in a Republican primary was actually for Ted Cruz when he was down on the polls. I served as a state delegate for the Republican Party. I've been appointed by Governor Greg Abbott last year. And my record as a city council person, and I can attest, I know there's folks here on the crowd that live in Keller, it's been a conservative record. We've lowered the tax rate. That's right, Brenda White's precinct chair, she attested. We lowered the tax rate each and every year. One of the things that I introduced for the first time in 30 years in Keller was an increase to the homestead exemption. And we did that. We went from 1% to 8%, lowering the dependency on property taxes. I offered an ethics policy, a page that are 17 pages long. I had no staffers write it. I literally wrote the document myself. And so when you look at policies in our records, I'm very proud of my record. I'm very proud of my prior experiences because it's made me into the person that I am. If Ronald Reagan, this is a joke by the way, but if Ronald Reagan became a Republican at the age of 55 or whatever, imagine how much more Republican I am when I'm 55, 25 years from now.
Okay, well my next question was, how do we know, like it was heartbreaking for a lot of us in this room to watch Gio turn on us. And how do we know that you won't do the same? And I think you just kind of addressed that.
Yeah, bottom line, you either stand for principle or you don't. And you either have it or you don't. And, I was raised to, listen, treat your neighbors with respect, have compassion for your neighbors, but stick to your morals, stick to your values. On the city council, in the 3 years that I've been there, there's been many times where I could have very easily voted with everybody else. That would have been the easier thing to do. The harder thing is to be the single vote, whether it be the yes or the no vote. I've done that time after time after time. And so bottom line, when you get to Austin, I know that you're going to get pressure from the lobbying crowd. That's expected. What's not expected is for you to stand your ground. I believe the simple notion that when you campaign, you got to govern as you campaign. 6 years ago when Giovanni came and spoke before you, when he knocked on my door, he said he was going to lower taxes. He said he was going to address Robin Hood. He said he was going to do something about immigration. He said he was going to vote against Joe Strauss. Every turn, every chance that he could, he voted for Joe Strauss. This last